The question is, what is the difference between self-respect and pride? On the path of surrender to God, should one maintain self-respect, or is it something that needs to be relinquished? So this is the conflict. People on the path of bhakti surrender everything to God. What should such people do, uh, when somebody insults them, or, there is loss of self-respect? Should you leave it because you are surrendering everything to God, or, you know, should we maintain it? This is the question the person has asked. Let me first ask my students, and then we will ask the experts here. Please unmute and share your views one by one.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, a little loud. Yeah,
Okay.
Saurindra.
There are these two terms, self-respect and pride.
Yes.
So, self-respect is towards yourself, respecting your own self. It is directed toward me. Pride, this word is directed towards outside or towards other people. So, for self-respect, there not need to be you higher than any other people. You should respect whatever you have, whatever achievement you have, or what are you going through life. Even your smallest needs should be respected by you. And in case of pride, this pride comes when there is a community or there is more than one person. So among them, you feel proud. So it is projected outwards. So
Okay.
I feel that this is the difference between pride and self-respect. Pride should be lowered, whereas self-respect should be higher.
Okay. And what
And
about the second part of the question?
second part of the question, sir, uh, on the path of surrendering to God, should one maintain self-respect or it is something that needs to be relinquished? So it is like when starting in the path of surrenderance to God,
Hmm.
it is a step-by-step process. So first
Hmm.
in this step, we dilute the self-respect. If so, here the self-respect term I mentioned that it is toward me.
Hmm.
So, in the path of God, first self respect should be lowered. Here, I am offering myself to the God.
Hmm.
So, this me also need to be diluted, it need to be lowered. But
Hmm.
as time passes, we see when we reach to the higher principles of our mind, our principles of life, and our principle of this cosmic energy, then it
Hmm.
happens that our lower things or lower mind mental faculty also is perfected. So then this self-respect actually become is true thing, the true self-respect one should have, not the normal very worldly self-respect, but self-respect towards your own true self, that Satchidananda Swarupa that is inside you towards it.
Okay. So Saurindra, gave he tried to answer this complicated question to his best ability. Uh, he says that self-respect is about yourself. In pride, you compare yourself with others. And in the path of surrender to God, in the beginning, the self-respect has to be lowered. Later on, you identify, your true self, and then the self-respect actually comes. Okay, let me hear from Tarana.
Good morning, sir.
Tarana, what do
Yes.
you think? क्या लगता है आपको?
Sir, for me, self-respect, we should define ourselves. Like,
Hmm.
let us define the self-respect from our side, and
Hmm.
pride is something. Let us define that thing from others. We should
Hmm.
not take pride from ourselves.
Hmm.
Like, this is the difference how I see.
Hmm.
Because when we define the pride, it becomes barriers and so on. It becomes a chain.
Hmm.
So let us define what is our self-respect, and let us other define what is the pride that we have. So there will be no ego. And the second part of it is, for me, if we are surrendering to God, so everything should be surrendered, even the self-respect, everything. Then like surrender is something like you are surrendering everything, not only this part, not only that part. You are surrendering to something that you believe so much, you have faith. So yeah, it will be worth it if you are surrendering your self-respect, your ego, everything.
Okay, so Tarana is quite clear. First part she answered very similar to what Saurindra said, but in second part she differs. She says that if you are surrendering, self-respect also has to be completely surrendered. Okay, let me now hear from Brinda.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. Sir,
Yes.
Saurindra has clearly explained what self-respect and pride is. I agree with what he said. I feel that again, it's if we shouldn't separate journey and goal. So over time, to survive in worldly place, to meet all the materialistic needs, to survive, we need self-respect and pride. Because man is a social being, we need that identity. So pride is needed. Over time, as one progresses through the path, now surrendering to God comes in all the path, even in Raj Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, wherever in the end you are surrendering. So you lose that difference between you and others. It dissolves self-respect. Like he said, pride is what is needed to that is shown outwards. As you go on, you start identifying that the qualities that others have is in you only. It is mirroring. So you start accepting everyone, and slowly even pride dissolves. Yeah, this is my
So what is your answer? On the path of surrender to God, self-respect should be maintained or not?
Yes, sir. Self-respect should be maintained.
Self-respect should be maintained. Why?
Why? Because now, say for example, I am a bhakti yogi. I am following the path. I do bhajans and everything. When people criticize me, if I don't have self-respect, I should be able to talk back and take my stand. So for that, at least it is needed. Over time, with path, you will learn to understand that okay, they don't know that this is the path, so let me let go of it.
Yes. Okay. So I like it, the students have their own independent thinking and they are sharing, to the best of their ability. And Brinda, says that self-respect should be maintained because, even if you are a bhakti yogi, whatever you are doing, you should be happy and proud of what you are doing. And if somebody insults you, you should be able to take a stand for your bhakti. Okay. Let me hear from Vibha.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everybody.
Yes.
Self-respect and pride are different, as we all know. I think Asmita part is the reason for self-respect and pride. But when Asmita is projected from Sattva, it is more towards self-respect. But when it is taking Rajas form, it is more like pride.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Then I feel as we progress in the path of surrenderance to God, pride should be first surrendered. But I think as we progress, the perception of self-respect changes. Rather than let go of self-respect, things which we earlier like, we feel the body or the mind, the knowledge, wisdom, everything is a gift of God. I should embrace it. And whatever the experience that we get, the samskaras, or the guru, which if suppose we get, is also a gift of God and our sanskaras. So the self-respect is just modifying or upgrading. It is more connecting towards God. The I-ness is reducing and more it is what?
Yeah.
Being one with God and universe.
Yes, yes. So very beautifully answered by Vibha. Both the aspect of the question. Vibha says that that the asmita, if it is sattvic, it has self-respect. It just competes with oneself, doesn't compete with others. Whereas once the asmita becomes rajasic, there is competition with others, which comes with pride. Uh, on self-respect, she says that it is your perspective that keeps evolving. Uh, but the self-respect that you identify yourself also, keeps expanding. The self in the self-respect keeps expanding. Okay. Now let us hear from the experts who are there, and then we will look at how Krishna answers this question. Fine. Gandhi sir.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, it's a. I think all of the students they answered very well. What is in my mind also. So I heard the same thing. Most of them are answering. So when we surrender means surrendering to God. So God is everything, and so He's whatever He does, it is God only does when we feel. When I'm feeling that when I surrender. I feel like that. Whatever, whether it's a good, whether it's a bad, whatever it is by Him only is doing. Everything is doing. So I feel when there is somebody is insults me, I feel that is also good. I used to think it is because of God's nature. Because I surrender to God. Whatever happening in this nature, it is because of my surrender to God. So I never disrespect even if somebody humiliates or disrespects my self-respect also. It doesn't bother also because the God is there with me. I am surrendered to Him. He is taking care of. So that is my notion.
So Gandhi sir
And
also feels that one should be surrendering the self-respect if the surrender is complete. So he aligns with what Tarana said. Anything else, Gandhi sir, you want to add into this point?
yeah, nothing to worry about itself. And as you become surrender, you will definitely lose your pride also. You will become more humble and humiliated. That's what I feel. So
Yes,
you will
yes.
be you will be seeing the world very calmly and very without any ego. And because God is there everywhere, and everybody is God, I see God in every creature. So I respect everyone, and they may be bad or they may be good. So even then I respect because the God is everywhere, omnipresent. That's what I use.
Thank you. Thank you, Gandhi sir. Very beautifully answered. Anybody else? Hemlata ji has written that one should have self-respect, in the chat box. Anybody else? Any other viewpoints? What do you think? Yes, Kambam Raghunath ji, and then Sanjeev Shah sir.
Sir, I feel self-respect is my integrity, myself, and what I have myself. And so far as the pride is concerned, that is a comparative matter, what I could be when compared to others.
Yes.
Well, how I am. So that's what I feel, that it is pride is something what is comparable, whereas self-respect is my own integrity.
When you grow in bhakti, you should have self-respect or not, Kambam Raghunath ji? What do you think?
Yeah, I must, sir. That is a process of, that's why when I compare myself, I always improve myself. And integrity is also is one which I would like to keep myself, my shoulder and head above others. That is my integrity.
Kambam Raghunath ji feels that self-respect should not be given up.
No,
Okay.
sir, definitely not.
Yes, yes. Let us hear from Sanjeev Shah, sir. Sanjeev ji? Sanjeev ji, please unmute. Yes.
नमस्ते सर.
Namaste, namaste.
एक्चुअली एकदम धार पे बॉर्डर पे रखा हुआ सा प्रश्न है. बाल बराबर सा फर्क है प्राइड और सेल्फ रेस्पेक्ट में. अगर इसे आप ईगो की तरह लेते, अगर ऐसा समझते कि आप इगोइस्ट हो रहे हैं तो थोड़ा फर्क समझ में आता है, पर सेल्फ रेस्पेक्ट और प्राइड की जब बात करते हैं तो कम समझ में आता है। पर जैसा मुझे लग रहा है कि एक व्यक्ति के तौर पे पहले हम अपनी पर्सनालिटी बनाते हैं, तो हम अपनी आइडेंटिटी बनाते हैं, तो पहचान हमारी बनती है, अपने आप को जानते हैं, नाम से जानते हैं, सोसाइटी में एक स्थान से जानते हैं, व्यक्ति के रूप में जानते हैं। तो वहां पे हम अ, अपने लिए प्राइड कलेक्ट करने के लिए, सोसाइटी में स्थान बनाने के लिए सोशल होते हैं, ढेर सारे काम करते हैं, तो वहां हमारा प्राइड इकट्ठा होता है सेल्फ क्रिएट करने में। फिर आप जैसे जैसे बड़े होते हैं तो आप सेल्फ को समझते हैं कि जो कुछ भी आपने किया उसका गुणा भाग करते हैं, देखते हैं, तो आपको सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट आता है कि आप कुछ हैं, आपने कुछ किया, आप अपने आप को समझ पाते हैं कि हाँ मैंने कुछ किया। पहले लोग बताते हैं जैसा सब बता रहे थे वो वाली बात। फिर उसके बाद एक ऐसी जगह आती है जहां आप वो आइडेंटिटी, व्यक्ति स्वरूप, मतलब फिजिकल मैटेरियलिस्टिक वाले देखने के बजाय स्पिरिचुअल वाले को देखना शुरू करते हैं, एसेंस को देखना शुरू करते हैं कि असल में आप हैं क्या। जब आप वहां पहुंचते हैं तो असल में आप जो सोसाइटी के लिए कर रहे थे वो करते ही रहते हैं, पर आप प्राइड जैसी चीज को अब नगण्य सा मानते हैं, नेग्लिजिबल हो जाता है आपके लिए, उसको आप छोड़ सकते हैं, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। पर उस समय थोड़ा थोड़ा सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट आपके पास रहता है, आप खुद को जब जानते हैं कि मैं ये हूं, ऐसा वाला करते हैं। पर जब आप और ऊपर की तरफ जाते हैं, भक्ति की तरफ जाते हैं, तो असल में आप खुद ही कह रहे हैं भक्ति कर रहे हैं, भक्ति मतलब कि आप सरेंडर ही कर रहे हैं। वो सरेंडर में भी अगर आप अपने पास कुछ बचा के रखना चाहते हैं तो शायद जो बच रहा है उसको ईगो बोलते हैं मेरे ख्याल में। वो व्यक्ति, पर्सनालिटी, जैसे कि स्पेशली मैं अपने आप को जानता हूँ, मेरे अंदर ये बहुत ज्यादा है। आप मेरी बातें सुनते होंगे तो मैं कहता हूँ सर कि आप भगवान को भी चैलेंज कर लो, ऐसा मैं बोलता रहता हूँ। तो इसको सेल्फ रेस्पेक्ट जैसा फील करते हैं कि ठीक है प्रभु होंगे, कोई बात नहीं, पर उन्होंने मुझे भी बनाया तो मैं भी कोई चीज हूँ, मैं उनके सामने साबित करके बताऊंगा कि मैं ही तुम्हारी सबसे अच्छी संतान हूँ। ये सेल्फ प्राइड है, और सॉरी सेल्फ रेस्पेक्ट है। ठीक है, बढ़िया, प्राइड भी है, जो भी कहे आपको, सेल्फ रेस्पेक्ट है। लेकिन जब आप आगे बढ़ते हैं तो जैसे आप जिस समय तैरना सीख रहे होते हैं तो आपको किसी की जरूरत होती है, उस समय आप सेल्फ को बचा रहे होते हैं, सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट आपके लिए होता है, सेल्फ बचाना जरूरी होता है, बट इसके बावजूद आप किसी को अपने आप को सौंप भी रहे होते हैं। जब आप सिखा रहे होते हैं तो आप डूब रहे होते हैं तो आपको पकड़ के निकाल लेता है, ऐसा वाला। लेकिन एक समय ऐसा आता है कि जब आप सरेंडर की बात करते हैं तो ऐसा समझिए कि बूंद को समंदर में डालना है। अगर आप भक्ति की बात कर रहे हैं, ईश्वर की बात कर रहे हैं, इस चीज को भी कह रहे हैं, तो हम उसका एक कतरा है, बहुत छोटा सा कतरा है। तो अगर आपने अपने आप को जरा सा भी बचाने की कोशिश की तो असल में आप उसको छू भी नहीं पाएंगे, छूते ही आप विलीन हो जाएंगे। ऐसा है कि ऐसा समझिए भक्ति आई नहीं कि आप सरेंडर हुआ तभी भक्ति आई, ऐसा। तो ये समंदर में खुद को विलीन करने के जैसा है, और जब तक आप ऐसा नहीं करेंगे तब तक आप समंदर हो ही नहीं सकते। आप भी समंदर नहीं होंगे, आप बूंद ही रह जाएंगे, अलग रह जाएंगे। तो जरूरी है हमारे लिए कि अगर हम समंदर को जानना चाहते हैं, खुद समंदर होना चाहते हैं, तो खुद को मिटाना पड़ता है। बूंद क्या है ना कि बूंद गहरानी समझ में, ऐसा कुछ है। एक ये भी है कि खुद को खोजने चला था तो हरि मिले नहीं, और जब खुद को खो दिया तो हरि मिल गया, ऐसा वाला। और एक जैन धर्म में भी आता है केवल ज्ञान में, वहां साधक होते हैं और एक क्या कहना चाहिए, लक्ष्य होता है जिसकी तरफ आप बढ़ रहे होते हैं। दोनों को आपको पाना होता है। तो परमात्मा यहाँ लक्ष्य है, साधक हम है। पर होगा क्या कि जब आप उसकी सीमा पे पहुंचते हैं, उसके पहले तक आपका ज्ञान होता है, आपकी बुद्धि होती है, आपका सेल्फ होता है, आप होते हैं, आपकी आइडेंटिटी होती है, आप होते हैं, ऐसा वाला। पर जैसे ही आप साधन को पकड़ेंगे, जैसे सॉरी साधन बोल रहा हूं, मतलब लक्ष्य को जैसे ही आप पकड़ेंगे, साधक जैसे ही लक्ष्य के टच में आएगा वैसे ही कमाल की बात ये, यहाँ पे मैं बोल रहा था कि समंदर में आप विलीन हो जाते हैं तो आप समुद्र हो जाते हैं, वहां ये फंडा आता है कि असल में जिसको आप परमात्मा कहते हैं वो कोई चीज नहीं है, वो मैं और तुम का फर्क जो है वो मैं भी चला जाता है, और जैसे ही आप पकड़ लेते हैं तो तुम भी चला जाता है, दोनों गायब हो जाते हैं, और रह जाता है वो ज्ञान जो कि डिफाइन नहीं किया जा सकता। उसको केवल ज्ञान शब्द से अ, बताते हैं, एक्सप्लेन करते हैं जैन धर्म में। वो केवल ज्ञान रह जाता है, मतलब कि चेतना रह जाती है, केवल चैतन्य रह जाता है, केवल मैं तो बोल नहीं पा रहा, एक्चुअली मेरे पास शब्द नहीं
Yes,
है, मेरी
yes,
समझ
yes,
सूझ
yes.
उतनी, मैं उतने बड़े लिमिट में नहीं हूँ कि मैं शायद ठीक से बता पाऊँ। पर मेरे कहने का मतलब है वही रह जाता है, आपको सरेंडर करना ही करना होता है।
अच्छा।
हाँ, उसके पहले नहीं करना होता है, पहले आप सेल्फ को समझे, खुद को बड़ा बनाए। आप सरेंडर करने लायक तभी हो पाएंगे जब आप बहुत बड़े हो जाएंगे, सेल्फ आपका बहुत बड़ा हो जाएगा, प्राइड आपका बहुत बड़ा हो जाएगा, तब शायद समझ आएगा। और ये शायद मैं थ्योरेटिकली कह रहा हूँ, क्योंकि मैं इसीलिए शायद एक्सप्लेन ठीक से नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, क्योंकि मैं उसको शायद अंतरतम में अच्छे से नहीं जान रहा हूँ, इसलिए मैं शायद कम्युनिकेट नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ। मुझे लगता है कि हेमंत सर बता पाएंगे ठीक से इसको। सर आप प्लीज
थैंक यू
एक्सप्लेन करें। थैंक यू वेरी मच सर।
यस, यस।
नमस्ते सर।
संजीव सर, बहुत ही सुंदर आपने जवाब दिया। संजीव सर, brought in a point that, as a person evolves in spirituality, slowly the self expands, and then ultimately when you are reaching that point, the self respect should not be there, but that is a very high state. But in the beginning, in the process of growth, the self respect has to be kept, and slowly it dissolves. That is what Sanjeev sir has said. Let us hear from Radha
तो
ji and then
परमात्मा भी
Pallav.
डिसॉल्व हो जाते हैं सर, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात है। जो केवल ज्ञान वाला फंडा है वो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि परमात्मा भी आपके सेल्फ को, आपकी प्राइड को कोई छीन नहीं लेता है। लोग कहते हैं ना कि
हाँ,
भक्त जाता है परमात्मा के पास तो परमात्मा उससे ज्यादा विनम्र होकर उसकी तरफ आ जाता है, ऐसा वाला
yes.
मुझे
So
फील आता है, इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ। थैंक यू सर।
yes, yes. Sanjeev sir is saying that even God, even if completely surrenders, it is not that God hijacks his personality. God also surrenders to the devotee. And there is a flourishing of the personality, blossoming of the personality that takes place. Beautiful, very beautiful. Let us hear from Radha ji.
Good morning, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
yes.
actually, if we are expecting a self-respect or pride, it depends upon their understanding level, sir. If a person is in a sattvika, a soft person, if is humble or genuine, whatever he is doing, honestly, if he is honest to his heart and if he is doing his duties, so automatically self-respect will come, and he need not go into as we see the five kleshas, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinavesha. If we have the understanding of these things, he did not have the nobody is giving to me, giving the respect, or see, if he know the value of him or herself, so he need not need that other approval actually. So he'll be calm and quiet. So, but if the person is having value of self more extra than reality, so he expects more respect or pride from others. He'll go into ahankara. But if you are in a position or in a profession, if you are in a teaching or some level, so at that time it may need to remove all these five klesha from our subordinates, or because that is also we don't have any attachment only for the sake of to explain or something. There also we have to calm. I mean, we have to calm in our heart, but only to explain these things. That also at that time also you need not be anger or any negative emotions internally. So there they can explain, and they should not attach. They have to understand the other people of ignorance why they are behaving. No need to. But God is there. What you are, what is your value? You know your value. So if you are
Yes.
expecting from that means it will go into a ahankara. So that's why. So that's my opinion.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
Radha points out, from Patanjali Yoga Sutra that ultimately it is asmita. Even if it is self-respect, ultimately it is asmita and it is a klesha and it has to be dissolved. Okay.
When you notice there, automatically you'll get the self-respect for everybody, sir. We have to be always in a, what do you call, momentary, you have to be aware of what you are doing. Then you don't have any negative emotions. You'll be always in a peace maintenance will be there. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Radhaji. Let us hear from Pallavi ji. Pallavi ji wanted to say something.
Sir, namaste.
Namaste.
See, when we are in the human level, when we are talking, the self-respect is very much necessary because to protect ourselves.
Yes.
Once we are going to surrender to God, we have to completely, if self-respect is there, we are limited. We are not completely surrendering to God. So, for example, I can give you Gata Khalsa. See, the space between the space which is inside the pot and the space which is outside, both are same. But what we think is the space which inside the pot is different. So once the pot is broken, the space, this thing is both are same. So when it comes to God, we have to completely surrender, sir.
Pallavi puts it, very beautifully. She says that in the path of bhakti, in the beginning, self-respect is required to protect yourself. A small child, as the child grows, it develops this self to protect oneself. But once one takes that leap of faith, once you take that jump, then the self dissolves and everything becomes one, like the space within the pot and the space outside the pot becomes one when the pot is broken. Beautiful. Okay, so let us see what Krishna has to say in Bhagavad Gita. So definitely, in 16th chapter, the Daivi Sampad and the Asuri Sampad, when Krishna describes, then he describes different kinds of manifestation of the Asmita, negative manifestation. Dambho, Darpo, Abhimanascha, Krodha, Parushyamevach. So here he says that Dambha is hypocrisy. You are something else within, you show that you are something else. Darpa is arrogance. In arrogance, what you do is you consider yourself as too high, and therefore you do not think of the consequences of your action and start believing that whatever you do is always right. And Abhimana. In Abhimana, there is also a comparison, and you see that people around you are lower than you. It is another manifestation. And then there is anger, harshness, and ignorance. All of them, they are described as negative qualities or the ignorance. So they definitely, there should not be a comparison of yourself with others. And then when he describes the positive qualities of a person, the first thing that Krishna tells is amanitvam, humbleness, no mana. One should not consider oneself as, a great or a very high person. One should always be humble. So that is the quality. Amanitvam, adambhitvam, no hypocrisy, and ahimsa. These are the qualities that Krishna says that should be there if a person wants to grow spiritually. So he's telling that you should tame down your I-ness and you should not allow the negative manifestation of the I. But then, as Vibha was saying, Krishna also tells that there are different kinds of actions, sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. And when the action is performed in the mode of sattva, the phalam is nirmala. You get more and more purified. Whereas when the action is performed in the mode of rajas means I do it with lot of ambition, look with my eye on the fruit of my action. Then ultimately the result is dukkha, frustration. Whereas when you perform it with ignorance, in some kind of a deluded kind of a mindset, then it actually, the result is that it enhances your ignorance more, makes you more deluded. So tamasic action is very dangerous because then the person keeps on losing insight more and more. And the result of tamasic action is more tamasic action. So it starts a spiral from which it is very difficult to come out. So that kind of a manifestation of I-ness is a tamasic manifestation, the asuri manifestation. He also says that, different kind of people do different kind of tapas or austerities. If the austerity is done for the sake of satkara, man, pujartham, for the sake of gaining honor, I am doing big homa or big katha because people should say that I organized it, or I should gain respect from the society, or adoration, then it is known as a rajasic thing. And ultimately it leads to frustration and pain. Because why it leads to that? Because you do things with certain expectation, and life brings you in such a situation that after doing so much, you do not get what you was looking for. And ultimately you end up being frustrated. And he also says that what is a tamasic kind of a tapa or austerity? It is performed with a confused kind of notion, and it also involves torturing oneself. See, torturing oneself also, Krishna puts it under tamasic category. So it is very important that one is not, trying to, take a step where prematurely one is trying to surrender, because then, as Pallavi ji was saying, that one should protect oneself in the beginning. So if a person has not matured to that level and is trying to give away his self-respect, then that will go in tamasic category. So you should naturally evolve to that level. Then only the self-respect has to be given up. But in the beginning stages, as you are evolving through the gunas, Krishna tells that one should not torture oneself. So self-compassion is important in the beginning. Then definitely Krishna says that one should lift oneself. Uddhared atmana atmanam na atmanam avsadayet. Atmeva yatmano bandhuhu atmeva ripuratmanaha. But of course, this is the path of Raj Yoga. For a Raj Yogi, his own self only is lifting, his own higher self is only lifting his lower self. So therefore, as Vibha was saying, that the perspective of the self changes. Initially, your lower self is your sense organ, your body, but then your higher self is your Atman. So your higher self lifts your lower self, and in that the respect is also shift to a higher level in the path of Raj Yoga. So this is one aspect. Krishna also tells towards the end of Bhagavad Gita, that yasya na aham kruto bhavaha buddhir yasya na lipyate hatvapi sa iman lokan na hanti na nibadhyate. He says, one who is free from the ego of being a doer, whose intellect is unattached, whatever action he does, he doesn't get colored by that. So this is a higher state of existence. The question that we have to ask is, what is it that you are considering as self in the word self-respect? I can respect myself, but the self, what is the self there? Is the self the body or the sense pleasure? Then as you grow in your sadhana, probably you have to give it up. Is the self my mind or emotions? What am I respecting? Or is the self my buddhi or intellect? Or is the self the divinity or the deity within me? So the higher the self, you can keep the respect of that self. The lower the self, you should give away. So this is a point that one has to understand. So this is about, in general, when we people who are living a worldly life, how do we maintain our self-respect? But I think this person who has asked this question is on a higher state of bhakti and he is evolving. For such a person, Krishna tells that the swadharma plays a very important role. Swadharme nidhanam shreyah pardharmo bhayavaha. Even if a person is growing on the path of spirituality, he will grow by his own nature. You cannot imbibe another person's nature in you. Say, I am a Raj Yogi or I am a Gyan Yogi. I follow the path of willpower or determination, or another person follows a path of intellectual, deeper questioning. And there is another person who is a complete bhakta, a person who has completely surrendered. Now here very important is Looking at a bhakta, a jnana yogi should not feel that I should become like him and give away his questioning or his deeper inquiry, because that will lead to anxiety, that will lead to confusion in the path. So, swadharme nidhanam shreya, following your swadharma and the natural way that you are evolving, that evolution will be better for you. Whereas imitating others or trying to become like others ultimately lead to confusion and anxiety. So this is the point that I want to make clear before I go and answer the question only from the Bhakti Yoga point of view. Now, when Krishna tells about Bhakti Yoga, Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nitya abhiyuktanam yogakshema vahamyam. One who is always connected to me, who has one pointed surrender to me, I take care of his yoga and kshema. What he needs and what is to be protected for him, I will do it. He need not protect himself. So this is a very clear point. And then at this point he says, now till now you have been following many dharmas, but now since you have reached this point of surrendering to me, sarva dharman parityajya, now leave all the dharmas. Mam ekam sharanam vraja, aham tva sarva papebhyaha mokshayishyami ma shucha. I will free you from all the bondages. Completely surrender to me. Now, since you have reached this level, O Arjuna, it is only towards the end of Bhagavad Gita that these things come up. He says, leave all the dharmas. So this is the story, that comes in Bhagavad Gita. All of us, may be aware of it, the Draupadi Chiraharana episode. So after this episode, what happened is, the Pandavas went to the forest for Vanvasa. And there, after this incident, till they were in forest, Draupadi, who considered Krishna as her friend, as her god, and completely surrendered to him, was actually angry on Krishna and was not talking to him. So Krishna decides to go and meet Draupadi in the forest. And when he goes there, Draupadi turns her face away and doesn't talk to him. Then he asks her, Draupadi, why are you so upset on me? Why are you so angry on me? Then she says that I did not expect this from you. So Krishna asks, what is it that you did not expect? I came there and I helped you in the crisis situation. But then she says, are you not my friend? She says, yes, I am your friend. Says, then why were you waiting for my humiliation till the last moment? When Dushasana grabbed my hair and was pulling me through my hair, when I was almost half naked, then you came. Why didn't you save me in the beginning itself? Why did you make me undergo such humiliation in public? That is why I am angry on you and I will not talk to you. So here, Krishna, filled with immense compassion, tells Draupadi that, oh, Draupadi, every moment that you were suffering, I was waiting to come to help you. In fact, I was there on the edge, but the way that I have created human being, the way that I have created people, I cannot interfere unless they ask me to come, because I have given this freedom of doing the action to human being. So therefore, in the beginning, you were praying to your husbands, then you saw that they are not going to help you, then you look towards Bhishma Pitamaha, then you look towards Dronacharya, towards the king, and then when you thought that nobody is going to come to your rescue, you started pulling the sari with your own hand, clenching it in your own teeth. And then when you realize that even your strength is not sufficient, and then you started praying me with your one hand, and with your another hand, you were still holding the sari. So still, I was not fully invited there. And as soon as you left the other hand and then raised both the hands up, lo, I was there immediately without delay of even a moment. So the way the creation, the way the things have been created in this universe, it requires complete surrender for the divine to interfere, because God is like the mother. If the baby wants to walk, Mother will be always around the baby, but mother will give the baby the freedom to walk because mother wants baby to enjoy. But if the baby sits down and cries, mother doesn't take even a moment to lift the baby up. So the questioner here, is asking whether I should just cry for God or I should still keep walking. I would say that if you are on Bhakti Yoga, you don't have to walk. You have to just sit and cry. So that is why who is a bhakta that Krishna finds very dear to his heart? See the quality that he says that, okay, these are the qualities a bhakta should have. If a person is growing in bhakti, these things should grow in him. And then such person will become very dear to me and I will lift him up. I will take care of everything for that person. What are the qualities? Sama shatro cha mitre cha mana apamana yoho. See, this is the first thing that Krishna tells. In friend and foe, he should be same. He should be equipoised. It should not affect him whether people are respecting him or insulting him. In shitoshna sukha dukkheshu sama sanga vivarjitaha. In heat and cold, he should be sama. He should not be attached to unfavorable associations. Again, he repeats the same thing. He says mana apamana yoho in the beginning. Again, he says tulya ninda stutirmoni santushto yena kena chita. He should be equal in ninda, in his, if somebody is insulting him, or stuti, if somebody is putting him on a very high pedestal. Santushto yena kena chit means in whatever situation life keeps him, the person is always satisfied. Aniketaha, one who does not take shelter in anything else apart from me. Sthiramatihi, always calm and serene. Bhaktiman, me priyo naraha. Among all the human beings, O Arjuna, this kind of a personality is so dear to me. I love such a person. He doesn't use these kind of words for jnani or karma yogi or raj yogi, but only for a bhakta. Krishna tells, priyo naraha, dear to me, he is my beloved. And why to get into the path of bhakti? Krishna says, jara marana mokshaya mam ashritya yatantiye te brahma tad viduhu kritsnam adhyatmam karma chakhilam. Those who strive to be free from old age and death, which are ultimate sufferings, take shelter in me. What is the result of that taking a shelter and complete surrender to God? Te brahma tad viduhu. Such people actually come to know the real essence of what Jnana Yogi realizes. Kritsnam, that is the Brahman, and Adhyatmam, the embodied self shines forth within them. Karmacha akhilam, and they also know the complete law of action and reaction and get answer to all their questions. So, my dear friends, I would like you to contemplate on these kind of thoughts. And today I pray for all of you that may all of you grow on the path of yoga and evolve into a state of highest bhakti in your life. And please allow this process to unfold naturally and always pray to God. If you have to pray for something, in my opinion, you should pray for bhakti. Thank you. Namaste.